I think due to public pressure, including international solidarity, although the verdict is much lower than the indictment, we are still very disappointed because once again, treason charges are being misused by the Indonesian authorities to target Papuans who are peacefully expressing their opinions. And I think the Indonesian authorities should immediately and unconditionally release the 7 activists and all the other POCs in Indonesia.
So to that point, are they going to appeal these sentences? Is there a risk if they appeal these sentences?
Well, they believe all of them are not guilty. They said they will think about the appeal, and that's because most of the prisoners will have to be released within a few weeks due to the length of sentences. And should they go for an appeal, they do have 14 days, and maybe it might not be worth to continue for it. But we call on Indonesian authorities to release them, and also to the parliament to repeal the law on treason in order to stop relentless harassment, intimidation and criminalisation against peaceful activists, peaceful critics from Papua and beyond.
Yes. You talked about this public pressure and the campaigning that has been going on by your organisations and many others, many Indonesians taking up this fight. How comforted are you by that? Do you think that there is sort of an opening of some change around the discrimination that many Papuans and West Papuans faced?
Well, basically, the attempt to silence Papuan critics have been intensified in June after public prosecutors picking up to 17 years for Papuan anti-racism protests. And they were accused of treason in Borneo District Court in East Kalimantan. And then the same due to the global protests against racism triggered by the killing of George Floyd that sparked online discussion in Indonesia, online forums in Indonesia from academics, activists, journalists, students about systemic racism against Papuan people.
So has that started enough of a conversation, do you think, more broadly in Indonesia about the terrible discrimination many people face?
You mean the discrimination against Papuans?
Yes.
There has been a very well-founded research done by the Indonesian Institute of Science. The research institute belongs to the Indonesian government, which has concluded there has been systematic discrimination against Papua. And I think Indonesian government have an obligation to address the findings by its own institutes of science, and especially in the current atmosphere in which freedom of expression in Papua is declining.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about that. So despite the fact that there has been something of a better outcome than expected for these 7 today, what is happening to that broader ability? You know, we had the opportunity for some form of autonomy for Papua, which has now been quashed, but what is their ability to express freedom of expression?
Well, the court verdicts today and also the other ongoing trials in other provinces, including in Papua, have shown that freedom of expression is on the decline in Papua in recent years, which is exemplified by the increasing number of people convicted of treason simply for expressing their opinions or peaceful protests against racism, or for expressing their aspiration to the right to self-determination. We have no position over Indonesian provinces' status, but we are concerned about a wave of harassment, criminalization, and intimidation against Papuans activists, students, and journalists, because such restriction will create a chilling effect in which Papuan cannot continue having dialogue with Indonesian government to improve the special autonomy law, the special autonomy policies in Papua.
Indeed. And I mean, the president has condemned cases of racism towards Papuans, West Papuans. Do you think he takes it seriously enough?
Well, I appreciate the way President have committed to condemn racism, and also the way President Widodo committed to release political prisoner when he visited Papua in 2015. However, as we have seen in the case of racial slurs in Surabaya, in East Java, only regular citizens who were involved in the attacks against Papuan who were taken into court with a very light imprisonment between 5, 7, and 10, while the other perpetrators, which are the military members, have never been taken into court. So I have a doubt that the president is full-heartedly pushing for human rights promotion and protection, as well as military reform when it comes to deal with Papua.
Usman, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Good night.
Good night.